What up, everybody? This is JP from Off the Ball Network, giving you a recap of Week 13 of college football, aka Rivalry Week, where we see the teams go against their arch rivals, the number one enemies. So definitely, before we get into the recap, we got some college football news that's been spreading like wildfire from over the weekend too as well. So before we get into it, make sure to subscribe down below to Off the Ball Network for all your sports needs, articles, podcasts, everything you need. Check out offtheballnetwork.com. Shout out to the guys from Off the Ball Network doing their thing. And also follow us on our social media platforms on Off the Ball Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and also on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe down below, like this video at the end of the video, and also click the notification bell. You know when the next upload is from Off the Ball Network to give you the best sports content from the best four-letter sports company in the world. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving too as well. Let's get into the Thanksgiving game. Ole Miss going against Mississippi State. Ole Miss with the 31-21 victory. Lane Kiffin let Mississippi State know it's over after Ely's touchdown. So hey, I mean, pretty much like Ole Miss just put it to them, scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter to Mississippi State's 15 points. They didn't really do anything in the first three quarters from Mississippi State side. Ole Miss kept being consistent, and they, Mississippi State made that comeback, but it was already too late though. So then we got Cincinnati going up against East Carolina. Cincinnati still undefeated in the American Conference, 12-0, 8-0 in the American Conference, 35-13. Desmond Ritter with 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, 17 out of 28. Ford with 85 yards, 1 touchdown on 20 carries, and Pills 8 receptions, 136 yards and a touchdown. Cincinnati also blocked a field goal and ran it back for a touchdown too as well. It was mother all she wrote for East Carolina as Cincinnati picks up the victory. Then we have Iowa versus Nebraska. Everybody was rooting for Nebraska to win and putting their bets on Nebraska. Nebraska had the lead, but what a fourth quarter explosion by Iowa. 19 points in the fourth quarter, beating Nebraska, coming back 28-21. Man, I tell you what, Goodson 156 yards on 23 carries. I mean, Iowa proved themselves that they're a really good team this year, and they are 7-2 in the Big Ten, while Nebraska's still struggling, 3-9 overall, 1-8 in the Big Ten. Then we have Colorado versus Utah, 28-13 Utah, rising with 3 touchdowns on 179 yards on 14 out of 23, carrying the team. Thomas with 142 yards and a touchdown on 25 carries. Covey with 72 yards and a touchdown on 5 receptions. Colorado losing to Utah, and Utah's 8-1 in the Pac-12, 9-3 overall. Then we have North Carolina versus NC State, where NC State picks up the victory rarely, 34-30 after exploding for 14 points in the first quarter, and then seeing North Carolina scoring 24 points the second and the third quarter, and then NC State, finishing it off in the fourth quarter. Leary with 4 touchdowns, 247 yards, going 19 out of 30. They had a classic comeback with 2 touchdowns in 26 seconds. Just unbelievable. MZ with 112 yards, 2 touchdowns on 5 receptions. Then we have Boise State versus San Diego State. San Diego State picking up the victory, 27-16. They're 7-1 in the Mountain West. Shout out to Matthews with 133 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Brookshire keeps himself to extend the Axis lead too as well. And we have Missouri versus Arkansas, 34-17 Arkansas. Pretty much not really a close game. Jefferson 262 yards, 15 out of 19, and a touchdown. Brooks with 129 yards. A touchdown is on 7 receptions. They're 4-4 in the SEC, while Missouri drops to 3-5. Then we have Georgia versus Georgia Tech, the battle of Georgia. Who's going to be better? Georgia Tech pulling off an upset? Nope, not at all. They didn't score nothing. 45-0 Georgia. Bennett, 4 touchdown passes, 255 yards, 14 out of 20. Matosh with 66 yards, a touchdown, and 2 carries. Bowles with 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions. That defense from Georgia is just amazing. They are just crazy. They are just crazy on defense, leading by Jordan Davis, number 99. Kenny Matosh with a 59-yard Georgia touchdown running the ball. So, whew, it was not close. It was not close at all. Then we get to the game where we will be like, Jim Harbaugh got to win this game in order to solidify himself to stay at Michigan, or he's just the guy that's going to be known as a good coach but can't win the big games. We have Ohio State versus Michigan, the battle of the Big Ten Hill. And when I tell you that Jim Harbaugh really impressed me, he really impressed me by going against Ohio State at home, beating them 42-27. CJ Stroud with 394 yards and 2 touchdowns. Haskins was the player of the game. They could not stop Haskins at all. 5 touchdowns, 169 yards, 28 carries. We've seen that in the NFL by a coach running back named Jonathan Taylor, who had 5 touchdowns last week. On the previous week before this weekend. Woo! I tell you what, man. Michigan, looked really good. They looked really good. And you talk about that playoff picture. That playoff picture is looking really good for Michigan if they can keep it up and everything. And Ohio State, dropped to 8-1, and Michigan's 8-1, both in the Big Ten right there. Then we got Alabama versus Auburn, which was the classic 4 overtime games right here. And Auburn had it. Like, they were shutting out all Alabama's offense. And it was the battle of the defense pretty much the whole game. But Bryce Young hit a really good touchdown pass in the final 20-something seconds of the fourth quarter to tie it up. Then it went into 4 overtimes, and Alabama picking up the victory 24-22. Bryce Young didn't have a great game, but 25-51, 317 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it wasn't the best game for Bryce Young, but they still picked up the victory though. They are 7-1 in the SEC, and Auburn is 3-5. Then we have Notre Dame versus Stanford, where we saw Notre Dame destroy Stanford 45-14. Jack Cohn with 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, 26 out of 35. Williams 74 yards, 2 touchdowns on 19 carries. Austin Jr. with 125 yards and 6 receptions. Also, some news coming out of Notre Dame is Coach Kelly is left Notre Dame to be the next LSU head coach without even saying anything to anybody. And he met with the team for like 10 minutes and left. That's kind of a bad move the way you handle it. It was a great move on LSU's part to get a really good coach like Kelly, who's proven himself to be a really good coach, making a couple appearances in the playoffs. But still, it was still just a bad move not letting the team know and just kind of just let them high and dry too as well. But it was still a good move though for LSU to get a good coach like Kelly though. But they pick up the victory 45-14. Then another news right here, Lincoln Riley is left Oklahoma to be the next head coach of the USC Trojans. Really great move. USC pulled it off again, getting Lincoln Riley the correct amount of money and getting, and they have a really good team around as well. So, you're looking at them to be a powerhouse for years to come with Lincoln Riley as a coach. And then the 5-star quarterback that decommitted from Oklahoma to go over to where Lincoln Riley is at. So, they're making some big changes and everything. So I'm excited for USC and what they're going to do for the future. But in terms of that, he was recently coach of Oklahoma Sooners. They faced against Oklahoma State, the battle of the Big 12 right here. Oklahoma lost 37-33. Spencer Rattler is transferring from Oklahoma. Williams 252 yards, 3 touchdowns, scored 20 out of 39. But Martin with 1 touchdown, 89 yards, 7 receptions. And, man, they reached the Big 12 championship. Congratulations to Oklahoma State. Then we have Texas Tech versus Baylor. Baylor picking up the victory 27-24. Smith with 117 yards, 1 touchdown on 30 carries. Texas Tech missed the field goal as time expired to seal Baylor's win. Man, it just came down in the wire in the fourth quarter, and they just could not get it done. Patrick Mahomes is disappointed right now. Then we have Oregon versus Oregon State. Battle of the Pac-12, 38-29. Oregon died with 99 yards, 2 touchdowns on 20 carries. Wins with 110 yards and 1 touchdown. And they're 7-2 in the Pac-12 in terms of Oregon, and Oregon State is 5-4 in the Pac-12. Then we have Penn State versus Michigan State. Congratulations to Coach Franken of getting an extended offer, to stay at Penn State. Congratulations. He definitely deserves it. Really good coach. But they lost here 30-27. Walker III, who's been unbelievable this season, 30 carries, 138 yards, and 1 touchdown to seal the deal for Michigan State. Scoring 14 points in the first quarter by Michigan State, and it's just been kind of consistent game ever since then. Then we have BYU versus USC, 35-31 BYU. Hall with 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, 20 out of 32. Hill with 72 yards, 1 touchdown on 4 receptions. BYU converted a recovery from it into a touchdown. They are 4-1 in away, and USC is 2-5 at home. Then we have Wisconsin versus Minnesota. Right here, the battle of the Big Ten, 23-13. Minnesota upset in Wisconsin. Morgan with 199 yards, 1 touchdown on 11 out of 16. 18 carries, 55 yards, 1 touchdown for Thomas. Spanned 4 with 62 yards and 3 receptions. The fans rushing the field as they won back the axe from Wisconsin. They're 6-3 in the Big Ten, and Wisconsin dropped to 6-3 in the Big Ten. Then we have Texas A&M versus LSU. Texas A&M losing to LSU 27-24, making Coach Kelly look good by going to LSU here. Johnson with 306 yards, 3 touchdowns, 22 out of 38. Jenkins, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns on 8 receptions. Man, I tell you what, Johnson threw a really nice go-ahead touchdown under intense pressure with 20 seconds left in the clock. So, man, he came out clutch. Then we have Pittsburgh versus Syracuse, 31-14. Pittsburgh. Wasn't really a close game. Pickett aired out for the Pittsburgh touchdown. Wake Forest versus Boston College, another game that was not close. 41-10 Wake Forest. Sam Hartman, 236 yards, 3 touchdowns, 20 out of 32. They clinched the AFC Atlantic Division. Then we have UTSA losing to North Texas 45-23, making Steve Austin look really good by going to North Texas State. And we have Clemson versus South Carolina, 30-0 Clemson. That the running backs look like Adrian Peterson and Emmitt Smith out there. Pace had a really nice game. Shipley, 128 yards, 1 touchdown on 19 carries. South Carolina just couldn't do anything. They really just couldn't do anything. So 9-3 overall for the Tigers, 6-6 for the South Carolina Gamecocks. And we have Houston versus UConn, 45-17. Houston, 4 touchdowns, 301 yards, 21 out of 30 for Tune. McCaskill with 54 yards, a touchdown on 9 carries. Hurslow with 111 yards, 1 touchdown on 5 receptions. What a nice TD pass, 49 yards by Jake Hurslow. And pretty much it was all she wrote for Houston right here. And that was your recap of Rivalry Week for College Football Weekend. Comment down below your biggest winner, your biggest loser, your favorite game to watch, and what you're looking for into Championship Week. And also like this video if you definitely like this video. Subscribe down below to Off the Ball Network for all your sports needs, and follow us on our social media platforms. And also check out offtheballnetwork.com, where we have everything you need on offtheballnetwork.com. I'm JP, and we're out of here. Peace.